When my son Kobe was a little boy, we would lay him down in his crib at night and turn off the light and walk out of the room, and he would get up a few minutes later and he would start crying. And we did this over and over. And so what I started doing when I laid him down in his crib and I would turn the light off and his little night light would come on, I would step back into the shadows where he couldn't see me. And he would start crying, and I would step out of the shadow and I would just say, "Kobe, lay down and go to sleep." And he would lay down and he would get back up a few minutes later and start crying again, and I would step right back out of the shadow and say, "Kobe, it's okay, lay down and go to sleep." And he would eventually go off to sleep because he realized that I was there. He realized that even though he couldn't see me, that he could be certain that I was there watching over him, that nothing was going to happen to him. And I think for people like us who have been going through the past few days and maybe weeks that we've been going through, and the uncertainty that we have in our world, and maybe we've had some restless nights ourselves. Maybe we've had some nights that it just seems like we couldn't sleep, or it just seems like our mind was consumed with a lot of other things. And so I want to encourage you today in a passage of scripture that we can find in Exodus 13, 21 and 22. "And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, that they might travel by day and by night. And the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night did not depart from before the people." And I love that. I love the fact that as God was leading them, God was there. And even though maybe they had this sense that they could not see Him, maybe that God was shrouded in this cloud, that God was shrouded in this shadow in a sense, that God was still there. The Hebrew word for cloud is the word anan. And it is the idea of a covering or a shade, but it's also the idea of authority. And I love that. I love the fact that as they were walking underneath the authority of God. That even though they had this cloud that was going before them, this cloud that was throwing a shade, casting a shade upon them, that they were walking in the authority of God. I think that we can look at this and for our own lives, that we can say, hey, there might be some uncertainty that we're facing. There may be some questions that we don't know exactly how to answer. And with all this uncertainty, there's something we can be certain about, that God does love us, and that God is with us. And so no matter what happens and no matter what you're facing, we can know that God is there. That maybe He's in the shadow, maybe He stepped back in the shadow, and maybe you can't see Him right now, but just know He's watching. Just know He's there. Just know He's working. And as we look at everything in our world, and we just remind ourselves, we encourage ourselves of this, so that God is working. We love you, we're praying for you, and we hope to see you soon.